The palace was quiet in the early hours, but the silence was not peaceful. It felt heavy, as if something old and hidden watched from the shadows. Lena, a small human child with bright eyes and messy hair, walked slowly through the long halls. She was not supposed to wander alone, but her guardian was busy working in the palace kitchen, and Lena had grown bored waiting for her to finish. She held a handful of colored sticks tightly. Drawing was the only thing that made her feel calm in this strange palace full of tall aliens with cold blue skin and sharp eyes. They looked at humans like they were guests, not friends. Lena never understood the difference, but she felt it each time she walked past them. She stopped at a corridor she had never seen before. The walls were darker here, almost black, and they looked like they were made from a single giant stone. There were no guards, no workers, and no light except the soft glow from ceiling crystals. The air felt still, as if the hall had been sealed for years. Lena stepped inside. Her footsteps made faint echoes that chased her down the empty passage. Nothing decorated the walls, so she reached for her color sticks. If no one had drawn anything here before, maybe she could make it look happy. She touched the cool stone and drew a small circle. Then she added a line through it. Then another shape. She didn't know why, but her hand moved without her thinking. She drew more symbols, strange ones she had never practiced. They came to her like quiet whispers in her mind. The symbols were simple, almost childlike. But as she drew the next one, the wall gave a soft pulse under her fingers. She froze and pulled her hand away. The symbol glowed a dim orange like fire trapped under glass. Lena stepped back. Her little heart beat faster. She looked around, but the corridor was still empty. She drew another one. It glowed too. A third. A soft hum filled the air. She didn't understand what was happening, but for some reason it didn't feel scary. It felt like the wall was waking up from a long sleep. Behind her, two alien guards walked in, talking to each other in their deep voices. They stopped at once when they saw her glowing drawings. Their eyes widened with fear. "Who did this?" the first guard whispered. "The child," the second said. "The human one." Lena backed away slowly. She didn't know if she had broken a rule. She didn't know if they were angry or afraid. The guards hurried closer. One bent down to look at the glowing marks. His hand shook. He pressed a small device on his wrist. "Call the scholars," he said. "Now." Lena felt her stomach twist. She dropped her color sticks and stepped behind a pillar. The humming sound grew louder. The symbols she drew spread across the wall like a chain of fire. The second guard muttered, "These are dragon runes. They match the old text. But that is impossible." Lena didn't know that word. She didn't know why the guards looked like they had seen something dangerous. She only knew she wanted her guardian. She wanted to go home. Heavy footsteps echoed from the other end of the hall. Scholars, workers, and high officials rushed in, drawn by the alerts. One figure stood out among them, a tall official named Archon. His long cloak dragged across the floor as he walked toward the glowing wall. His face was sharp, his eyes cold. "What is this?" Archon demanded. "Who activated these symbols?" The guards pointed at Lena. She shrank behind the pillar but could not hide. Archon's gaze fell on her. A human child? Impossible. Humans cannot read or write these symbols. They were lost long before their world existed. A young palace historian named Ravian stepped forward. His voice was calmer than the others. "Sir, the runes match the records of the Dragon King's language. But yes, this child, she cannot know them." Lena whispered, "I wasn't writing words. I was just drawing." Ravian knelt down to look at her. He softened his tone. "Did someone teach you these shapes?" She shook her head. "I only draw what feels warm. I don't think about it. It just comes." The corridor suddenly shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The glowing runes brightened until the whole hallway looked like it was ringed with fire. A deep rumbling came from the stone behind the wall. Something old was stirring. Something that had slept longer than any living creature in the palace. Archon stepped back. "Seal the hall. Everyone out." But the wall cracked before anyone could move. A long hidden line glowed bright like molten rock. Ravian stared in disbelief. This wall, it's reacting to her. The runes were a key. Lena felt the air grow warm around her. She didn't understand anything they said. She didn't know what a key was or why the palace suddenly felt alive. The hum turned into a deep heartbeat sound, slow and heavy. Bottom, bottom, bottom. Lena pressed her hands to her ears. The sound shook her chest. Then a soft whisper crossed her mind, a voice that was not hers. "Little one, why did you call me?" Lena gasped and stumbled back. She looked around, but no one else reacted. The whisper came again, warm and deep. like a giant speaking from a far distance. You drew the ancient flame. You opened the first door. Ravian saw her fear and hurried to her side. What is it? What do you hear? She looked up at him with shaking eyes. Someone is talking, but not here. In my head. Archon tensed. Remove her from the hall. Now. But the corridor vibrated again, stronger this time. The wall split open down the center, revealing a thin line of bright gold light. Ravian whispered, "This is not an attack. It is an awakening." Lena felt the warm whisper again, clearer now. "You carry the memory of the old fire. That is why you can draw my runes." She held her breath. The wall burst fully open, sending a wave of heat across the hall. And from the warm glow inside, something ancient exhaled for the first time in ages. The runes Lena drew brightened like stars, and everyone stared, not at her drawings, but at the shapes slowly forming behind the broken stone. Something was waking, and it had answered Lena's innocent touch. The broken wall still glowed like a rising sun, and the warm light spread across the long corridor. Everyone stood frozen. No one dared step closer. Lena stayed near Ravian, holding his sleeve tightly. Her small hand shook, and her eyes stayed locked on the golden cracks in the wall. The heartbeat sound slowly faded, but a strange energy filled the air. It felt like the air itself was breathing. Ravian kept one arm around Lena, trying to shield her if anything happened. Archon stood farther back with a group of guards, their hands ready on their weapons even though they didn't know what they were facing. The glowing slowly dimmed, and the inside of the chamber became quiet again. For a moment nothing moved. The energy around them settled, and the hall fell silent in a heavy, tense way. Archon lifted his hand. "Move her away from the wall. Now." Ravian didn't move. "We don't know if the wall is unstable. Pulling her away too fast might trigger another reaction. We cannot leave her near this thing," Archon said. "She may have caused it, but she is also the greatest risk." Lena looked up at Ravian, her voice small. "I didn't mean to break anything." His expression softened. "I know." More scholars arrived from the far side of the palace. They whispered among themselves as they studied the glowing cracks. Some looked amazed. Others looked terrified. A few raised their cameras to record the symbols she had drawn earlier. One of the senior scholars approached Archon. "The symbols are dragon runes. Ancient ones. They match the oldest known texts. But these are more complete than anything in our records." Archon frowned. "You mean the child recreated ancient writings perfectly? Without training?" "She didn't recreate them," Ravian said. "She made new ones. Patterns we have never seen." Lena shifted nervously. She never liked when grown-ups argued around her. Her voice broke the tension. "They just came to me. Like pictures. They felt warm." Archon turned sharply toward her. "Child, you expect us to believe you simply felt symbols that no one has seen for 10,000 years?" Lena didn't speak. Instead, she held Ravian's coat tighter and hid half her face behind him. Another scholar stepped forward, more gentle than the others. He looked at Lena with curiosity instead of fear. "May I try something?" Archon sighed. "Make it quick." The scholar pulled out a clean metal tablet and gave Lena a soft smile. "Draw here. Anything you like." She slowly took the tablet. Her fingers traced the cool surface. For a few seconds she hesitated. Then her hand moved again, almost like something was guiding it. She drew a looping line, then a spiral, then sharp-pointed shapes. More symbols formed quickly, smoother and more complex than the ones she drew earlier. The scholars leaned in. Ravian watched closely. Archon watched with a suspicious glare. When Lena finished, she lowered the tablet. Her drawing glowed faintly just like the ones on the wall. The scholars exchanged stunned looks. "These symbols match the patterns in the sealed archives," one whispered. "Patterns related to the Dragon King's technology." "But she doesn't know the language," Archon snapped. "She's a child and she is drawing ancient secret runes like it's nothing." Ravian said softly, "Maybe she doesn't know them. Maybe she feels them." Archon scoffed. "That is nonsense." But before he could speak further, the wall behind Lena pulsed again. A deep sound rolled out, soft but powerful. Everyone turned to the cracked stone as golden light leaked out once more. "It's reacting to her new symbols," a scholar said. Archon stepped back quickly. "This is a threat. It must be shut down. And the child must be taken away." Lena's breath caught in her chest. She didn't want to be taken away. She didn't want to be alone in some strange room with cold walls and guards. Ravian stepped in front of Archon. "She is not a threat. She is the key." The wall only reacts when she draws. She may be the only one who can control it. Archon glared. She is dangerous. She is scared, Ravian replied sharply. The scholar holding the tablet spoke up. Sir Archon. She drew symbols that matched the sealed texts from the era of the Dragon Kings. Only a few scholars have access to those records. She could not have copied them. This means she is either reading them from memory she does not understand, or something inside the chamber is guiding her. The corridor shook faintly again, like something inside the wall answered the scholar's words. Lena pressed her hands against her ears. The warm whisper returned inside her mind. Little one, do not fear. You have opened the first door. There is more to see. More to awaken. The voice was gentle, but it still frightened her because it wasn't her own. She looked up at Ravian quickly. It's talking again, she whispered. It's talking inside my head. Ravian lowered himself so he could meet her eyes. What does it say? She swallowed hard. It said, I opened a door. And that something wants me to open more. The corridor grew very quiet. Archon spoke slowly. She's hearing something. A telepathic signal or an entity inside that chamber. Ravian's voice softened. Or a memory. Archon turned to the guards. We will remove her now. Ravian stepped between them again. If you take her, the chamber might become unstable. The wall reacted to her presence. Moving her could trigger a collapse. The scholars murmured in agreement. None of them wanted to risk damaging something ancient and powerful. Archon clenched his jaw. Fine. But she stays under watch. Every second. Lena pressed closer to Ravian. Her voice was small. I don't want to go inside. I don't want to open more things. He placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. No one is forcing you. We will only do what you choose. But as he said those words, the golden cracks in the wall shimmered again. A stream of warm light reached outward like a soft breath. Lena felt her hand lift on its own, glowing faintly at the fingertips. I think, she whispered trembling, it knows me. Ravian felt a chill run through him, not of fear but realization. The child who shouldn't know these symbols, somehow did. And the ancient power behind the wall was waiting for her alone. The corridor felt warmer than before, as if the air had begun to glow. The light inside the cracked wall pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat too large to belong to anything living. Scholars and guards kept their distance, unsure whether they should watch or run. Ravian stood beside Lena, trying to understand how a child could awaken something that had slept for ages. Lena stared at the golden cracks. Her small fingers trembled and she held her hands close to her chest. She didn't want to draw anything else and she didn't want to hear the strange voice again. But she felt its presence, soft and warm, like a whisper breathing just behind her ear. Inside her mind, she heard the gentle echo. You woke me, little flame. Lena squeezed her eyes shut. Please stop talking, she whispered. Ravian knelt down beside her. Is the voice back? She nodded. It's calling me something. Little flame. I don't know why. Archon stepped closer, though he still kept a safe distance from the wall. Can it hear us? Can you talk to it? Lena shook her head quickly. I don't want to. The pulse from the cracks grew brighter as if answering them. The whole corridor hummed like distant thunder. Ravian felt the vibration through his boots. A scholar whispered, This chamber, it was sealed during the age of Dragon Kings. If something is inside, it must be ancient. Archon tensed. Then why is it speaking to the child? He turned to Lena sharply. What does it want? Lena looked away, her voice small. I don't know. But she did know one thing. The voice didn't feel cruel. It felt lonely. The wall hummed again and the crack widened. Dust fell like soft gray snow, and a warm breath of air escaped from the chamber. It was strange, warm but not burning. It felt welcoming. Ravian moved slightly in front of Lena, shielding her. Everyone stay back. But even he couldn't hide his curiosity. What could survive sealed in stone for so long? Inside the wall, something stirred. A shape slowly became visible, not fully formed but outlined in light. It wasn't a creature or a person. It was more like the shape of a memory, floating and shifting. Lena stared at the glowing figure. She didn't understand what she was seeing, but the voice in her mind grew clearer. Do not fear me, child. I am only an echo, a memory left behind. Ravian noticed her expression. It's speaking again? She nodded. It says it's a memory. Archon frowned. A memory of what? Lena didn't answer with words. Instead, the chamber answered for her. A sudden burst of golden light filled the corridor. Everyone shielded their eyes. When the light settled, the shape inside the chamber became clear, large, majestic, with long curved horns and wings that stretched like folded light. It was the memory of a dragon. A massive ancient dragon. The scholars gasped. Some took steps back in fear, while others leaned forward with awe. Archon stood frozen, caught between disbelief and anger. Ravian whispered, "Impossible?" The dragon's shape flickered like a projection made of fire. It wasn't alive, but it wasn't dead either. It was something in between, an imprint left behind by a creature that once lived. The voice inside Lena's mind grew stronger, deep and calm. "I am Vorlith, last of the Dragon Kings. My body is gone, but my memory remains. And you, little flame, have awakened me." Lena spoke softly, afraid but also strangely calm. "Why me?" The glowing dragon turned its head toward her, even though it had no real eyes. Its voice echoed through her mind and the air around them, soft like rolling thunder. "Because only a heart untouched by fear can open my runes. Only a child's mind can carry the spark of the ancient flame." Archon forced himself to speak. "What do you want?" The dragon's flickering wings spread slightly, and the chamber brightened. "Not war. Not harm. I was left as a warning, and as a guide." Ravian stepped forward. "A warning? Of what?" The air turned colder for a moment. The dragon's voice lowered. "Of the hollow swarm. A force that devours stars. Long ago my kind fought them. Many dragons fell. My memory was sealed here to guide the next species that could continue the fight." Fear spread through the group. Even Archon's expression tightened. The hollow swarm was a legend to most, a myth told to scare young cadets. But the dragon's voice carried a truth that felt older than any story. Lena's voice trembled. "Did I do something wrong by drawing? I didn't mean to wake a monster." The dragon memory softened its glow. "You did nothing wrong. You opened the door that must be opened. The swarm's shadow returns, and only through the ancient flame can your kind survive." Archon stepped back, trying to stay calm. "Why a human child? Why not someone trained? Someone older?" The dragon's wings flickered brighter. "Because the runes respond only to innocence. Only a pure mind can activate the old defense. Adults have fear. They carry doubts. The flame does not answer them." Ravian felt a chill. "So she is the only one who can activate this power?" "Yes," the dragon answered. "The rune flame is tied to her now." Lena took a small step back. "I don't want this. I just wanted to draw." Something in her voice made even Archon look away. Ravian placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "It's not your fault," he said softly. "No one could expect this." The dragon bowed its great head toward her. "You are afraid. But listen well, little flame. The power I give is not for war. It is for protection." Lena swallowed hard. "What do I have to do?" "You must help me open the memory gates. Only then can your world defend itself." The corridor shook again, not from danger but from the dragon's flicker of energy. The glow spread across the walls, lighting up more hidden runes that Lena had not drawn. Ravian watched them carefully. This is a map. A guide." Archon looked pale but determined. "And she is the only one who can unlock it." The dragon's voice lowered into a calm rumble. "I am only a memory. Soon I will fade again. But you, little flame, you carry the spark. With your drawings, the ancient flame will rise once more." The dragon's form flickered, then began to dim. Lena reached out a hand without thinking. The warm glow touched her fingers like a gentle breath. "Do not fear your gift," the dragon whispered, "for it will soon be needed." Then the light faded, leaving only the cracked wall and the echo of the dragon's heartbeat. Lena stood in the quiet hall, feeling both smaller and heavier than before. She had awakened a sleeping memory, and now the galaxy expected her to protect it. The palace hall shook again, but this time it was not from danger outside. It came from deep below the city, from something old that was slowly waking up. The whispers grew stronger every minute, and it felt like the floor breathed under everyone's feet. Mira walked through the long stone corridor with shaky steps. The guards did not stop her now. The queen herself had ordered that no one block the child. But everyone watched her like she carried the fate of two worlds in her small hands. She looked scared, but her feet did not stop. It was like something inside her kept pulling her forward. Captain Roan walked behind her, trying to stay calm, though sweat dripped down his neck. He knew humans could not read dragon runes. No one alive, not even the greatest historians, understood the ancient symbols. So how did Mira draw them perfectly with chalk like it was a simple game? Mira reached the spiral stairs that led down into the dark chamber, the oldest place in the entire palace. The torches flickered when she stepped closer, like even the fire was nervous. The queen waited there with her advisors. Everyone kept quiet. Mira hugged her toy again, a small cloth animal she never let go of. She looked up at the queen and spoke softly. "It wants to talk to me." The queen felt her chest tighten. "The echo?" she asked. Mira nodded once. No one had spoken the echo's name in centuries. It was the sleeping mind of the first dragon, sealed under the city long before humans arrived. Some believed it could be awakened only by someone pure, someone untouched by fear or greed. A child. The queen knelt down to Mira's height. She spoke softly so she would not frighten her. "What did it say to you?" Mira pointed to the wall behind the queen. The wall that had been covered in bright white chalk a few hours ago. The runes glowed faintly now, like soft fire inside the stone. "They are not drawings," Mira said. "They are questions." The queen exchanged confused looks with her advisors. Captain Roan stepped closer. "What kind of questions?" he asked. Mira pressed her hand against her chest. "It wants to know why I am here. Why a human child is in its palace. Why I can hear it when others can't." The queen's voice trembled. "And do you know the answer?" Mira nodded slowly. "Because I'm not afraid of it." Another tremor ran down the walls, stronger than before. Dust fell from the ceiling. The ground beneath their feet grew warm. The queen rose to her full height. "The echo is waking," she whispered. "We don't have much time." Mira took a deep breath. Although her hands trembled a little, her eyes were steady. "Let me go down there," she said. Captain Roan stepped forward at once. "Absolutely not. It's too dangerous. If the echo is waking, no one knows what it will do." Mira looked at him with her small calm face. "It's calling me. If I don't go, it will get angry." Everyone froze. The queen looked at the guards. "Prepare the lower chamber," she ordered. "We will take her to the heart circle." Mira walked with them down the ancient stone steps. With every level they descended, the air became warmer. The walls glowed with faint red lines, old runes that had been asleep for ages but now woke with soft breaths of light. Mira whispered, "I can hear it clearer now. It's like humming." Captain Roan listened but heard nothing. The queen also heard nothing. Only Mira's small ears could understand the echo's voice. At the bottom they reached a grand circular hall. A single massive stone lay in the middle, marked with a swirl of dark runes that looked like a sleeping eye. As Mira stepped into the hall, the runes brightened. The queen held her breath. Mira stepped to the edge of the circle. The glowing runes moved like slow waves around her feet. The stone pulsed like a giant heartbeat. Everyone stayed back. Only the child walked forward. Mira looked down at the giant stone. "Hello," she whispered. A deep sound filled the chamber. Not loud, but heavy like the breath of a mountain. The runes on the ground rose in brightness. The stone cracked slightly. Captain Roan reached for his weapon but the queen held out her hand to stop him. "If we frighten the echo, we doom the city," she warned. Mira closed her eyes. She could feel the ancient mind inside the stone, huge, old, lonely. It had been sleeping for thousands of years, and now it was waking to a world it did not understand. She spoke gently, like talking to a scared animal. "I didn't mean to wake you. I just like drawing." The chamber hummed. "I didn't know these were your words. I'm sorry." The crack on the stone stopped growing. The heartbeat-like pulse slowed. Mira felt the echo's question inside her mind. Not in words but feelings. "Why are humans here? Why do you walk in my halls? Are you enemies? Are you thieves? Will you break what I protected?" Mira placed her hand on the glowing stone. "I'm not here to steal," she whispered. "I just want to help. Your city is scared. The queen is scared. Everyone is scared. I don't want anyone to be hurt." The runes around her softened in color. Captain Roan whispered, "She's calming it? She's actually calming it?" Mira heard another question in her mind, soft but heavy. "What do you choose?" She didn't fully understand the question but she felt what it meant. The echo was asking if she would stand between dragons and humans. If she would be the bridge. If she would carry a burden no child should carry. Mira looked back at the queen and Captain Roan. They both watched her with worried eyes, ready to run to her if anything went wrong. She turned back to the stone. "I choose peace," she said. "I choose to help both sides. I choose to listen." The chamber pulsed once more, strong enough to shake the dust from the ceiling, but then it softened into a gentle warmth. The runes dimmed into a calm glow. The echo accepted the child. The queen covered her mouth, tears gathering in her eyes. Captain Roan let out a long breath he didn't know he had been holding. Mira stepped back and the stone closed its cracks. The hum faded into silence. The chamber was peaceful. The queen whispered, "She did it?" Captain Roan knelt beside Mira as she came out of the circle. "Are you all right?" he asked. Mira nodded. "It's not angry now. It's resting." Then she looked at both of them with a small tired smile. "It trusts us." And for the first time in centuries, the ancient hall felt warm and safe again. The first morning after the echo calmed, the palace felt different. The warm light inside the halls was softer, almost peaceful, as if the stones themselves were breathing easier. For the first time in many years, the guards did not walk with fear in their steps. And the queen, who had not slept a full night in months, finally looked calm. Mira woke up in a small guest room near the royal wing. She rubbed her sleepy eyes and hugged her cloth toy, the same one she carried everywhere. When she stepped out into the hall, Captain Roan was already waiting for her. He looked more relaxed than usual. "Did you sleep well?" he asked her. Mira nodded. It was quiet. The voice didn't talk last night. Roan smiled a little. "That's good. It means the echo is resting." They walked together toward the main hall where the queen was waiting. Advisors, scholars, and guards stood around her, whispering about what happened in the lower chamber. Many had trouble believing a small human child had done what armies and scholars could not do for centuries. When Mira entered, everyone fell silent. The queen stepped forward with a gentle smile and held out her hand. "Mira," she said softly, "you changed the future of our world." Mira felt shy and looked down at her feet. "I only talk to it. That's all." The queen shook her head. "Sometimes talking is the strongest power." She escorted Mira to a balcony that looked over the whole dragon city. The sunrise painted the sky in gold and soft blue. The tall stone towers shimmered as the runes on them glowed faintly, showing they were finally awake again. Mira gasped. "The runes outside are glowing too." "Yes," the queen said. "Because the bond between our worlds has changed." Your calm heart touched something ancient. Now the echo sees humans not as danger, but as part of its world. Mira looked at her small hands, surprised they had done something so big. The queen turned to Captain Roan. "With the echo awake, we can rebuild the star gates. We can travel again. Trade again. Grow again." Roan nodded. "And humans will help. This is the first true link between our people." The queen looked back to Mira. "You did not only save the palace. You connected two civilizations." Mira wasn't sure what that meant, but she liked the sound of it. Later that day, the queen asked her to walk with her to the lower chamber again. The warm stone lights pulsed gently, like a sleeping heartbeat. The echo did not send questions or fear. It sent calm. Mira placed her palm on the stone and whispered, "Thank you for trusting me." A soft echo replied in her mind, warm like a quiet breeze. Felt like a friend. When she stepped back, the queen watched her with soft eyes. "The echo has accepted you completely. That means you now carry a bond that no human has ever carried." "What kind of bond?" Mira asked. "A bond between stars," the queen explained. "Between your world and ours. With you, our people can speak without fear." Mira tilted her head. "Do I have to do something special?" The queen knelt in front of her. "No. You simply have to stay kind." The rest of the day was filled with celebration. The dragons, the scholars, and even the workers in the city gathered in the courtyard. For the first time in many years, music played through the stone streets. The cold air became warm with laughter and soft bright lights. Mira sat on a decorated seat beside the queen. People bowed when they walked past her, and she became nervous. "Why are they doing that?" she whispered to Captain Roan. "You helped save their city," he said. "They honor you. But I'm a child." Roan knelt and smiled gently. "Sometimes a child can do what grown people cannot." Mira looked at the crowd again. She still didn't believe she was important, but the smiles from the people made her feel warm inside. As afternoon passed, the queen gathered her strongest advisors. They brought large maps of ancient star gates and cosmic routes. Mira sat quietly beside them, listening as they talked. Captain Roan pointed at a drawing of a huge structure floating between planets. "This is the gate your runes activated. With the echo awake, it can open again." The queen nodded. "Our worlds will no longer be strangers." One advisor spoke carefully. "We should send a message to Earth at once. They should know about this bond." The queen turned to Mira. "Would you like to be the one to send the first message?" Mira held her cloth toy tighter and nodded slowly. "What should I say?" The queen smiled. "Whatever you feel." That evening, in a high round chamber with a clear roof, a glowing device was placed in front of Mira. The runes inside it lit up as she stepped closer. Captain Roan helped her stand on a small stone platform. "Just speak," he said. Mira looked at the glowing circle, took a breath, and began. "My name is Mira. I am safe. The dragons are not bad. They are scared like us. I talked to the echo. It trusts us now. I hope humans and dragons can be friends." The device glowed bright and a soft wave of light shot into the sky, disappearing into the stars. "It's done," the Queen said. "Your message will reach your home world." Mira felt a soft warm feeling in her chest. She had spoken for 2 worlds. She hoped they understood. That night she walked again with Captain Roan through the quiet halls. The glowing runes on the walls pulsed gently, as if the palace itself breathed calmly for the first time in centuries. Roan looked down at her. "Do you know what will happen now?" Mira shook her head. 2 worlds will talk. 2 worlds will share knowledge. 2 worlds will protect each other. And someday you will stand in the center of that bond. Mira looked up at the stars through a tall window. They shined like tiny fires, far away but alive. "I'm small," she whispered. Roan put a protective hand on her shoulder. "Small people often make the biggest change." Far below them the echo stirred softly, not in fear, not in anger, but in peace. It had accepted the new age. It had accepted the child who drew runes on palace walls without knowing their meaning. The echo sent one last gentle whisper into Myra's thoughts. "Not alone." She smiled, understanding the message. The dragons were not alone. Humans were not alone. And she, a small child with simple chalk drawings, had created a bridge between stars. A new bond had begun, strong, gentle, and full of hope. And the galaxy would never be the same again.